Okay, so I just wanted to give you a couple tips in preparing for the exam and just a little bit of research on what people have thought about um, this. People who've thought about this deeply, what they think about inexperienced problem solvers versus experienced problem solvers, just so you can get some meta knowledge of what's going on. But before I do that, I basically want to give you three skills. Okay, so there's three really important skills to taking a test, and this is going to sound a little bit obvious, but one of them is not quite as obvious. So when you work on a problem, you have to identify how to do it. You need to, know the steps involved in doing that, and then you need speed. Okay, those are the three really important skills. And speed, that's just practice. Steps is really just doing a number of problems and looking back at the lecture and looking at the solution sets, even if you've gotten a 10 on them. Go back and look at it and make sure that you got all the steps right. But one thing that's really tough to practice in any class that you're learning, one concept at a time, is identifying how to do the problems. And the reason why this is such a difficult thing to practice is because one week we'll learn all about kinematics, and so that week you don't actually practice identifying whether or not this is a kinematics problem. You just assume it's a kinematics problem. So what I would do is I'd make sure that you don't just do a bunch of kinematics problems in a row, right? So don't do all similar problems in a row. Switch it up, right? So if you're working on a kinematics problem, jump over to rotation, jump over to Brownian motion, or diffusion rather, jump over to various things, because people who are inexperienced, they'll just, they'll do this like haphazard formula seeking. And the reason why inexperienced problem solvers do that is because they don't know how to identify problems. They haven't practiced this identifying problems. So if you're able to, categorize problems in a more sophisticated way than just the surface features, right? A lot of people will just categorize things in terms of surface features. If instead you can categorize the problem based on some deep principle, right? You learn how each principle can be connected to different situations. So if you're able to do that, then basically you're learning how to identify how to do that problem, and that way you won't have to haphazardly search for any equation. You know exactly what this is, what the principle is, and you'll know exactly what equation to get to. Another piece of advice is, for every problem you'll need a physical model. So what I think this really translates to in a practical way is draw a picture for yourself. Even if there's a picture there, and if you're stuck, you should always draw a picture. So I think that's really helpful, just for you to connect it to, is it a problem where, you're on an inclined plane and, the block is up here and then later it's down here, and then when you're drawing down here, you go, oh, maybe it's an initial and final position thing, or it'll connect to, maybe work kinetic energy theorem. And so, just drawing really connects to other things that you've seen. And then one last piece of advice is write out knowns and unknowns. So anytime you have a problem, just write out everything that's given. Just write out all the knowns. I know this and this and this and this. and then I'm looking for this, and this. And of course, yes, this will help you find the right equation, but it'll also help you, narrow down the concept, right? So if you realize that, okay, the knowns have a distance and a force, and then the unknowns is looking for something related to energy, then you'll know that, okay, what connects force, like forces and distances, to energy? You'd be like, oh, work. So then it's a work problem. So that's just a little bit of advice. I think identifying how to do the problems, that's really helpful. And one more quick thing about that is I would, in order to not do similar problems in a row, I would take a bunch of your old, offline homework, past tests, past practice tests, and just, print them out, rip all the pages, don't staple them, just take them all apart, and then just, mix all problems together. And then go through them just trying to identifying them. I would do this problem like this. Go to the next page, identify how to do it. It would go like that. This next one, it would go like that. And so that's just some advice. I really hope that helps with problem solving. And again, hope to see you over the next week.